Welcome to My Business Matters, the Michigan Chamber podcast.
Hello, listeners. I'm Amanda Toy, the Michigan Chamber's Vice President of Membership and Partnerships, and I am so glad you are tuning in. I'd like to welcome another episode as we preview Michigan's winter tourism outlook. Gosh, it seems like only yesterday we were talking summer and golf. But today, as the cold kicks in, it is a great time to get ready for snow sports season. And what better state in the United States to have that conversation than here in Pure, Michigan. So it seems like a great conversation for today. I want to very honorably welcome the most passionate, knowledgeable guest that we could have on here, who represents a major travel destination, Brittany Primo. She's the communications director for Crystal Mountain in northern Michigan, Benzie County to be exact. So thanks for being with us today, Brittany.
Thank you so much for having me. And you nailed it. I am. I'm very excited to talk about winter at Crystal and just in Michigan in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's jump right in. Is it snowing up there right now?
Currently, no. I wish I could say yes, but, it'll come. It happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think everyone is just fixing to get out there soon. So since we are connected today, one thing that comes to mind is, Pure Michigan. We've talked to Dave Lorenz in the past and some really wonderful places throughout Michigan. And I'd just like to talk a little bit about like a quick foundation of this conversation. Can you tell us briefly about Crystal Mountain and what makes you unique? Because we do have so many wonderful entities here in the state.
Well, what I think a lot of Michiganders love about our state is that it's 4 seasons, right? And visitors, they love the fact that it's 4 seasons. And that's exactly what Crystal Mountain is. We're a 4-season, family-owned, family-centric resort in Thompsonville and Benzie County, as you mentioned. And, our goal is just to set the stage and be the stage for exceptional experiences for families, visitors, locals, everyone who's looking for a good time. And part of our mission is to connect people with nature, self, and others. And so our team is focused on, delivering what we call the Crystal difference. And ultimately, we say that fun is the magic in our business. So no matter what season it is, there's always something for someone to get outside and have fun and take part in.
I've never talked to any Michigander or Midwesterner who has come home from Thompsonville, Michigan at Crystal and had nothing but the word fun and other things that go along with it included in the story. So I can attest to that brand, Brittany. So how's it looking for this winter, the forecast? I know you probably follow that. Like you said, you've got 4 seasons and you get to something fun about being up there, in your business concept is switching gears, every probably 12 to 16 weeks. But what's the forecast for the industry and for the climate up there looking like for this winter?
Yeah, as far as winter goes, if you're living in Michigan, you know that there's been a little bit of a lack of the natural snowfall. But luckily, we've been able to make our own snow. Our snowmakers have been very busy, and our slopes are open. We kicked off the season December 1st, and we had 11 slopes open, and we continue to open slopes and chairlifts as much as we can, and we'll keep doing it until we're 100% open. So we have 59 downhill trails, 8 lifts, and 3 terrain parks. We have night skiing. Yep. So there's a lot to look forward to ahead. And, our snowmakers, again, they're busy because whenever we have those opportunities to make snow, and it's a science, it's got to be cold, but it's around-the-clock snowmaking. And as far as the outlook goes, people this time of year, if there's snow or not, even if you don't have snow in your backyard, we're making snow. And then this time of year, people want to ski, snowboard, and that's what we're doing for them. So regardless, we have 11 slopes open or all 59, they're happy having fun on the slopes.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So you said it's a scientific process. To me, I can picture the blowers and it coming out with the lights and the nighttime skiing and all the feels, right? I know it's a very sophisticated process. What does that look like to the common Joe here or Josephine that's listening?
Yeah, so snowmaking is a science, and there's strategy to it. Ideal snowmaking conditions are 28 degrees or less and low humidity, usually less than 70%, but the lower the better. And we have a robust snowmaking system that covers about 98% of our 103 acres of skiable terrain. And so 177 snow guns, we can make a lot of snow in just a short period of time. And that's something to point out to people that, they think man-made snow is different than natural snow. It's really not. It's much more durable, too, so it can withstand some of these warmer temperatures. 10 inches of natural snow is only about 1 inch of base, but 10 inches of man-made snow is 10 inches of base. So it really is durable and can withstand, like I said, those warmer temperatures. And honestly, our biggest factor would be the wind, what our director of mountain operations likes to call the hair dryer effect. So as long as we don't have wind, it's actually pretty good. So the other thing is snowmaking has become pretty efficient and automated. So we have some computer systems in our pump house that will actually alert our snowmakers of when those ideal conditions are ready to roll, and we can fire up the snow guns. But it really comes down to our talented and actually really experienced snowmaking team of when we do have those ideal conditions, how to work with the wind speed, the wind direction, the humidity level, and how to best utilize our snow guns. Again, being strategic about it and making sure that we can open the runs that are going to last and then work on the other half of the mountain, if you will. But so I think in a nutshell, it's science and it's strategy.
You say it's science, but it kind of sounds like an art. So kudos to the team up at Crystal.
That's a good point.
So tell me a little bit about our family loves to ski. What about families who don't? I know Crystal's super family friendly oriented. So if you're going up on their own, or if you're bringing up, a gaggle of children, what else can they do in these cozy winter months up there?
Sure. And I think some people, maybe they're not skiers or snowboarders yet because they've never done it or they're nervous about it. But I do want to put in a plug for, skiing in the Midwest in general. It's not intimidating, and that's what's great about it. And Crystal in particular, we have a great snow sports school, and all of our instructors are certified. They're professionals. They say friends don't teach friends how to ski or snowboard. Go with a pro. So I do want to say, if you're not a skier or snowboarder yet, or your family isn't, it's fun to get out there and learn together, learn a new skill. But if you just have no interest in the slopes, that's fine too, because we do have off-slope activities. And when there is a good amount of snow on the ground, you can do cross-country skiing or snowshoeing. Fat tire biking is becoming very popular. And then if you just don't even want to do the snow, we have the Crystal Spa, and we have family crafts such as our Build-A-Buddy workshop. And there's just so much to do. Outdoor laser tag, archery, you name it, there's something to do.
I'm kind of the cozy lodge person. You can get me a nice warm beverage after a busy day outside, and I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, so and I'm glad you brought up the lodging because regardless of what size you're coming with, we have your standard hotel room suites, cozy cottages, bungalows. We have the mountaintop townhomes that are ski in, ski out. So, and that sleeps up to 15 people. So regardless of the size of group that you're traveling with, we likely have something that will make you feel like home away from home.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I want to pivot a little bit and talk business. A lot of people listen to My Business Matters because they are interested in different industries in the state, the overall economic climate of the state, the theme of the Michigan Chamber of Ensuring a Stronger Michigan. So I'm going to say a word that's very scary to all of our wonderful hospitality partners. But, now that we are, for the most part, past pandemic, how in northern Michigan specifically, Brittany, has travel rebounded, and what's the conversation, right? What's the vibe? It's clearly much different than 12 months ago, 24 months ago, 36 months ago. Thank God for that. But just the current tourism landscape up there, and what kind of conversations is the team having?
Yeah, winter tourism is really important in Michigan. In fact, the Michigan Snow Sports Industries Association just reported that winter travel accounts for almost a third of the $22.8 billion Michigan travel industry. There are 40 ski resorts in Michigan, which attract about 2 to 2.5 million visits each year. And fun fact, no matter where you are in Michigan, you're within 2.5-hour drive of a ski area. But as far as the conversation, we're still experiencing a great interest in outdoor activities. Newbies, as well as those who may have been on a 10 or to 20-year hiatus. On a national basis, skier visits were up 8% last year to a new record of 65.4 million skier snowboarder visits. That was largely driven by the Rocky Mountain and Pacific Southwest regions. They had a lot of snow last winter. And Michigan was slightly off about 3%, and the Midwest off about 5%, but it was still great numbers, which is important because, like I said, the ski industry plays a huge part in our state's economy. So
it absolutely does, and it's a fun part of the contribution of the economy. So we thank your team. And speaking of your team, workforce, certain industries are really seeking continuous, recruiting of really great talent. Are you experiencing labor shortages? I'm assuming you have a lot of seasonal employees. You need a lot of experts up there on the slopes. What does it look like as far as onboarding, training your team, and just having the right capacity there on staff?
Yeah, we're really we're not understaffed right now, which we're proud to say. But we do have to ramp up our number of employees in the winter. So we're about 700 employees in the winter, about 500 in summer. But, you mentioned workforce housing, and that's been a big headwind for our region and something we've been working on for well over 20 years. And in fact, it's something that a lot of people, the community is actually starting to support because they know that we need the year-round business in Michigan. So on the topic of workforce housing, Housing North showed that Benzie County, which is where Crystal is short about 700 units of workforce housing. So it's certainly needed in our area, and it's something Crystal has had on the master plan for a while now. And we're actually working with Homestretch. It's an organization, a nonprofit housing corporation, and their mission is to build that affordable, safe, quality workforce housing. And they're looking at a site that's actually on Crystal property. I think it's about 15 acres or so. They have a proposal for a phased 8-building plan that would develop about 32 townhouse-style rental units. And if they can put it through, then Crystal, we want to donate that land, and so they can build this workforce housing for the community. And again, it's just something that it's nice to see boots on the ground, and they've had a lot of successful projects in our region. We do have our J1 workers, our exchange workers, every year. This year we have a few dozen from about 7 different countries, and they work in every department, snow sports, food and beverage, mountain operations, like lift operations. So, we take what we can get, but they obviously are looking for that workforce housing. And we do have employee housing on site as well. So it is important, and it's something that's important for the whole community, because when any ski resort brings visitors from across the country, they're not just staying at our resort property. They're going to nearby towns like Frankfort and Traverse City and visiting those restaurants. Mm-hmm. It's a huge difference. And that all comes down to the snow, too. When the snow falls and when we can make snow, that's what's attracting those visitors. And it's important that people check our webcams and call ahead and things like that, so they know that Northern Michigan is open for winter.
Oh gosh, you just said so many good things that I want to touch on, and I know we don't have all afternoon here, but when you said webcam, I can just picture all these avid Michigander skiers, like they're sitting at their office job, right? Or they're on their phone after, a hard shift at the plant, and they're just watching the webcam and watching the snowfall and thinking, oh, I can't wait until my few days midweek PTO or my weekend up at Crystal. I just like the excitement, right? Some people have a nanny cam, and you guys have webcams for your snow slope. I love it. I love it.
Exactly. We check it just like it's, a nanny cam. But, yeah, it's almost, for those Michiganders or for anyone who maybe doesn't like bitter cold but likes winter sports, it's almost perfect. Even with the warmer temperatures, you can still experience winter in northern Michigan without maybe the treacherous roadways and things like that.
Right.
So we got to find the silver lining, right?
Absolutely.
as long as we can have those cold temperatures and make our snow, we're in fair shape.
Yeah, it definitely would get people fired up too to head over to you. And you touched on affordable housing, and although that's maybe not as quote unquote fun, it's really great to hear the partnership with the county and with Crystal and Crystal's leadership team there. They're such a fantastic team. Putting their heads together and thinking how we can have these collaborations and work together to be able to find solutions, not only to help our business, but our community. And I think any good business in Michigan who's a great steward of their space, their land, their team, their workforce, and growing the local economy are getting really creative and solving these issues through partnership. So congratulations. I think that that is a good thing that you need to keep us posted on in the coming months here, so we can continue to see that build out.
Definitely. Yeah, we're excited about it.
So, we're so excited about winter. We're talking about winter today on the podcast. I'm also excited about spring, summer, and fall, the other 3 seasons you talked about. And it is you're working in a very unique business concept that is driven by external factors, often with climate. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the business concept being at a Michigan resort with multiple facets of offerings to travelers, both leisure, group travelers, everything in between? How does a business operate and plan strategically about what is the next, what's 24 going to look like versus 23, or what's 25 going to look like versus 24 when you're thinking about all these different seasons and offerings throughout the year?
Yeah. We work with challenging weather patterns. We are weather dependent, and we've been able to kind of adapt every time, whether it's winter or summer, we've had to build a robust year-round business plan. And so over the last 30 years, we have improved our golf operations. We, of course, built our LEED-certified spa and the fitness center. The outdoor water park helped generate a lot of business for the summer. Adding on to that, we have the climbing wall and adventure course, the alpine slide, and the conference center really helped us keep business year-round in the fall time. We have weddings that are mostly in the summer, those warmer months, but those are also year-round. So having those events, the conferences, and then, of course, in winter, investing in snowmaking equipment and trying to come up with additional ski terrain. So it's really just, we take it season by season. You're always looking ahead and just trying to figure out how to keep that business year-round, especially when we do have, a challenging winter. Or summer. In fact, with our golf operations, rain can be challenging, or even in winter, we've seen lightning events because of the warmer temperatures. So you never really know what you're going to deal with, but I think it's just all about adapting and having a plan and not being afraid to invest in the long term. And it kind of, not predict, we don't have a crystal ball, but, just plan for the worst, I guess.
Yeah.
And just make sure that you're always on your toes. And that's something that I could say about our team, too. We've had a lot of people that have been there 30 years, so things have certainly changed. But in even the newbies, just being able to adapt and change on a dime, and do it with a smile.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool experience to not only work in hospitality, but at a resort that is affected by the seasons. And it's when you're speaking, Brittany, I can't help but draw parallels against all industries here in Michigan when it comes to strategic planning and solving issues. So you're talking about, how do we solve these short-term issues like lightning that just happened, right? And all of the damage control, if you will, and safety precautions that need to go into that short-term and long-term. But then also, how do we strategically have intentional conversations about what do our customers want going forward? What are we hearing? What are we experiencing? How do we, quote unquote, re-engineer the future to be adaptable? And gosh, I think that could go into, we could plug that into any podcast we do, right? With any business professional in any industry here in Michigan. So I think that is actually good to hear that, a lot of this aligns throughout all of our great businesses and members in Michigan. We're getting close to the end, but I want to make sure that I allow you, Brittany, to share either a great story or some great news to our listeners here that have spent some time with us.
I think it's just one of those things going off of what we were just talking about in the adaptation and being impressed by, even if you don't have snow in your backyard or we experienced a green Christmas versus a white Christmas, it's just the fact that we're open. And even against the challenging weather patterns, we're open. Winter is here in northern Michigan, and we're welcoming people, to stay with us for the overnight or just for the day. Come up and visit, check out the area. Again, places like Crystal or wherever you go, explore the region. Go see those nearby towns, trails, and get out and kind of explore. And then, speaking of our industry partners and just Michigan in general, if you're not a part of the Michigan Chamber, you should join. You guys provide us so many resources and excellent programming and advocacy and networking opportunities. We've been longtime members, so we can't say enough about joining the Michigan Chamber.
Oh, Brittany, that's so sweet of you. I'm not going to say how old I was when when Crystal Mountain joined the Michigan Chamber, but you have been a great partner. So we appreciate that encouraging feedback. Our mission is to help Michigan businesses succeed. And with 700 employees up at Crystal waiting, I think it's time for me to plan our next trip. You're not that far away at all. So thank you for spending some time with us. And to all of our listeners, thanks for tuning in. I hope this was an inspiration to you on all things Pure Michigan, no matter what the season. And be sure to tune into our next episode. Until then.